What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where every single week I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the original content that I watch on the WWE Network. Today we're talking Table for Three, the episode that aired after Raw this past week, entitled The Future Empowered, with Alexa Bliss, Trish Stratus, and Lita. In a very good episode, about 23 minutes in length. The time, as always, just flies by. And as one can only assume, I believe this was taped over WrestleMania weekend. And we've had a bunch of episodes over the last number of months that were taped over Mania weekend with Shane McMahon, AJ Styles, and Kurt Angle. We had one with Road Dogg, Elias, and Jeff Jarrett. We just had one a few weeks ago with the Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian. This episode, another very entertaining episode of Table for Three. No different. So we kick off the episode with all three remembering being in the same quote-unquote room for the Royal Rumble 2018 earlier this year for the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match, which I was in attendance for. Great match, awesome show. Bliss was not in the match like Lita and Trish were. They were competing in the contest. Bliss was at the time the Raw Women's Champion, so she didn't compete in the Rumble match, but she did watch from afar. Bliss admits to getting chills for both entrances for Lita and Trish. I kind of figured Trish would be in it. Lita I figured would be in it too, but not when she showed up at number 5. And I can attest to what Bliss is saying here. I got probably my biggest mark-out moment during that entire match when Lita came out. It was a great reaction. It's all up here on the channel, by the way, if you're wondering. I got reactions for every single entrant in both the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches earlier this year. And the in-house reaction to Lita coming out was insane. It was awesome. But Bliss and Trish apparently had a moment in the match that wasn't caught on camera. So Trish got eliminated from the match. Bliss was sitting ringside with her Raw Women's Championship on her lap. And apparently after Trish got dumped by Sasha Banks, Trish was kind of recuperating, selling the injury of being sold out to the ringside, whatever, by being thrown out to ringside. And she goes up to Bliss and kind of does that eye thing where, I'm watching you and I got my eyes set on that Raw Women's Championship even though I lost, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't caught on camera, which is crazy because, Bliss and Trish may not exactly be a dream match, but still it's a pretty big match and people have been comparing the two for years and I doubt it would ever happen. But I thought that was pretty cool, and obviously the match will never happen. But I thought it would be pretty cool if they caught that on camera to use it for future highlight reels and stuff like that, but apparently it wasn't. One moment that was caught on camera was the private moment that Lita had with Charles Robinson, the referee at ringside, after she was dumped by Kairi Sane. She got fucking thrashed by Kairi with that elbow in the corner, she said. She got rocked right to the chest. Got hit. I don't know if she got hit with the elbow or not, the flying elbow off the top rope. I don't believe so. But she did get dumped by, I think, Becky Lynch. And it might have been Kairi, but I'm pretty sure it was Becky. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was Becky. So Lita gets tossed out to ringside, and Charles goes up to her and is like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "I guess." Obviously not, because she just got, not hurt, but rocked by Kairi Sane, which was pretty funny. Bliss had said for years in interviews that she had wanted a women's WrestleMania main event, and she had also said she wanted a battle royal containing all the women that have helped, get the women's revolution underway, not just in the last 3 years, but also dating back to the bras and panties days. That stuff, the 2-minute matches back from 08, 09, 2010, when the women's wrestling division really wasn't taken as seriously in WWE as it is today. And she says that the women's revolution that we have today would not have happened with all those, without all those other women from years past. Because without that stuff, we wouldn't get what we have today with the women of Raw and SmackDown and NXT. And we technically got that Battle Royal with the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match back in January, but Bliss was a little disappointed that she wasn't a part of it. This was something she had always wanted, had always dreamed of, and they got it, but she wasn't a part of it, not technically anyway. So anyway, like I said, she said that the women's revolution, whatever, started years ago with the bras and panties stuff, with the 2-minute matches, and that it took every woman to get here. And she had said watching from ringside for that women's Royal Rumble was like being a kid all over again, because she's not a part of it, but she's watching, she's got the best seat in the house, right next to ringside as the Raw Women's Champion. It doesn't get much better than that, unless you're in the match itself. And then Trish and Lita also talk about only really knowing the characters of the women, because, they've been out of the business for so long now. Lita was a part of the company for a few years, but you only really knew what we saw on TV with Alexa and Sasha Banks and Bayley, and being a part of that match really helped them get to know each woman of the current roster and kind of get acclimated with all of them. So Trish and Lita, speaking of whom, remember their first ever Raw Women's Main Event match, I believe from 2004, and how great of a match it was, that it was in Charlotte, because Charlotte was in the front row. But they also talk about what they wore that match, which obviously no one remembers in retrospect. But to them, it was a big deal at the time, because they'd come off a live event tour, and all they really had left was their sweaty clothes. So they took they took their clothes that were rolled up in a ball, wore those, and it worked out well. No one ever really noticed. No one cares about the wardrobe and whether they're sweaty. Like, we have no idea. Watching on TV, we have no clue. We care more about character development, how the match is and stuff like that, how the promo is, as opposed to what they're wearing 90% of the time. So it was funny to hear them talk about that, because in retrospect, it really wasn't that big of a deal. But at the time, to them, it was like this huge thing, because they were trying to get their gear ready, and it really wasn't what they wanted to wear, but it all worked out perfectly in the end anyway. They talk about wardrobe malfunctions, and Bliss apparently is always double taped with her bra stuff and the pants and whatever, just in case anything comes undone, nothing is showing, whatever. But she does share a specific incident from an episode of SmackDown in October of 2016 when she had her Freddy Krueger wear from Nightmare on Elm Street. It was right before Halloween, which is why she was wearing it. She had also worn it in NXT for a little while too, which was great because it's great gear. So anyway, she had a match, I believe, with Naomi, and at one point the strap on the top of her gear came undone, which can easily be redone, but the strap got caught in her hair, so she was trying to fiddle with her gear and then with her hair, which obviously I don't think anyone noticed at the time, but when they show back the footage during the course of this episode, it's pretty crazy to see, like, holy shit, she was fiddling with her gear the entire time to get it back tacked in, back and connected and stuff, back together. So obviously something that at least guys did not notice at the time. Maybe girls did. That's a whole girl issue. But again, it was funny hearing her tell that story. When Lita, she had a wardrobe malfunction of sorts in Malaysia. So she was in the bathroom getting changed and whatever into her gear, and she was trying to flush the toilet. Now, I guess toilets in Malaysia are a little different than they are here in the States, and they are in other parts of the world too, where it kind of like shoots up. You know how like some of the toilets like shoot up in other countries? She had pressed the button, the water shoots up, and it goes all over her gear. So she's like, fuck, because they had to like rush her out to TV right afterward for like an interview or something. So she just went with the wet look, and it all worked out just fine. From there, Bliss talks about WWE being her happy place, and how it's kind of only really gets stressful when she gets home, because that's when everything really starts to set in. Trish says to deal with that type of stuff, she had started doing yoga and recommending training and stuff like that. Trish has always been really into yoga, a lot like DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, but she had been doing it for years. She's been doing it for a long time now, even when she had her first kid years ago. But she talks about that process here too. Bliss talks for a while about Larry Steve, her pet pig. Apparently it got bigger because we first saw the pig on Total Divas. I guess that's where she got it. I thought she'd had it for a lot longer than that, but apparently not. It's a deaf pig. She did get it on an episode of Total Divas because we were shown a clip of where Nia Jax attempted to feed the pig bacon when she got like a bacon and cheese sandwich or something. And Alexa Bliss is like, dude, like, why the hell are you eating this? And I think I might have even talked about this here on the show at one point. I'm not sure if I reviewed that season of Total Divas. For some reason, I think I did. So I might have even talked about this a while ago. But yeah, she wasn't too happy with that. And in that moment, she's like, wow, I need to go vegetarian. After seeing Nia Jax almost feed Larry Steve his own flesh and blood, and maybe not him specifically, but like a fellow pig, whatever. So she went vegetarian from that point forward. But she talks about Larry Steve and giving him a bath, and how the pig thinks that Cheerios come out of the tub because she feeds him Cheerios when she gives him a bath because he can't hear, and he's always uncomfortable and freaking out when he's in the bath, like any other pet would. So she feeds him Cheerios like it's coming out of the like the faucet in the tub, which is funny. She talks about getting him into bed and how he's gotten bigger and how she has to kind of carry his ass up. All these other cute pictures and videos and stuff like that of Larry Steve the pig, who I did not know got as big as he did because I'm not on Instagram, so I have no clue. Bliss talks about fitness competition and bodybuilding, what she used to do before she came to WWE, and after accomplishing it all in that realm, she was ready for something else. So her trainer brought up the fact that there was a WWE tryout coming up pretty quickly, so she sent in an audition tape, and we see clips of that audition tape on this episode. And it's not terrible. It's not good, but it's not that awful either. So because of that, she was probably more character-driven than pretty much 90% of the women they had probably brought in for the thing. So she had a callback. There were plenty of models, all like 6 foot at this casting call. And she had like texted her mom in that moment saying, okay, well, I tried. Because I know I'm not going to get hired. But ultimately, she got hired, and the rest is history. With Lita, she took up mixed martial arts. She went to Mexico, worked a little while with ECW thanks to Tommy Dreamer. And again, with her, the rest was history, kind of paving her way to the WWE years later. With Alexa Bliss, she also says everyone comes from different paths. And this is what she loves about wrestling. Everyone comes from different paths, but or comes from different backgrounds, I should say. I messed that up here in my notes here. Everyone comes from different backgrounds, but everyone makes their own path to get here. And that's what makes wrestling so unique and so much fun and so great. And then to end the episode, they talk a little bit more about that and also who can eat their food without ruining their own lipstick. So, typical girl episode of Table for Three, but it is enjoyable nonetheless with Trish Stratus, Alita, and Alexa Bliss. Very good stuff here. Again, like I said, about 23 minutes in length, but the time flies by. All three women have great stories to share. We kind of get more insight into Alexa Bliss, the person, and not the character, which, if you watch any sort of media, you know she's the biggest sweetheart in the world as opposed to what her character portrays on TV. But yeah, this was a very good episode of Table for Three entitled Future Empowered as Seen on the WWE Network from After Raw last week. So check that out on the network at your leisure. And thank you guys for checking out the show as always. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. We will be back, I believe, on Monday with my thoughts on Total Bellas, the latest review in the current season, current third season, I think, of Total Bellas. And also, too, as we talked about a few weeks ago, I will be reviewing the Miz and Mrs. show on the WWE Network coming up pretty soon. I think that's debuting not this Tuesday, but the next Tuesday after that, on July 24th, I believe after SmackDown. So I'll have plenty of thoughts on that in the series premiere of Miz and Mrs. Maybe next week, maybe on the Friday after it airs. I mean, these videos go up so out of order now because I've been so busy nowadays. But they are up nonetheless, so be sure to check out all that stuff right here on the channel. Like I said earlier, by simply subscribing, you get all the content right in your subscription feed. New videos almost on the daily right here on the Graham GSM Matthews channel. So anyway, guys, have a great rest of your weekend. We'll be back on Monday, I think, with an all-new episode of Total Bellas right here on WWE Network and Chill. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.